Well, guys, that didn't take very long. After OpenAI announced this partnership with AMD for 6 gigawatts of chips, Oracle, 2 days ago, announces a 50,000 chip order with AMD in 2026. Let's talk about it. That is insane. 2 days after this major announcement. Now, I think that's why the stock went up like another 10% today, and it blew past all-time highs. I think it crossed like 240 a share. And I think it was only 4 months ago, not even 4 months ago, I did that video where I compared AMD to Nvidia, and the fact that those two market caps, AMD was trading around a $200 billion market cap. Nvidia was trading around a $3.5 trillion market cap. And I knew that this gap was going to get filled. Okay, this gap between Nvidia and AMD was going to decrease at some point. And sure enough, it's going to decrease now. Now that we've got all these massive deals going through for AMD in favor of the inference chip, which I talked about in those videos, both videos I did on AMD and this Pepsi challenge I mentioned. You know, the Pepsi challenge where you're debating between Pepsi or Coke, you know, it's a blind taste test. Well, this was the same thing for AMD and Nvidia. AMD is going to catch up, if not exceed Nvidia when it comes to market cap. It very well could do that because the inference side of AI is going to be larger than the training set. Now, not to say that Nvidia doesn't have inference compute, because they do. Obviously, they know what they're doing. They're a great company and they're going far. I would say that market cap is going to continue to go up for Nvidia. This is not financial advice. I can't tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. I hold both stocks. I hold both Nvidia and AMD. I don't hold as much Nvidia because I was late to the game. You know, I bought around $775 a share. I think I've doubled from that point, but I just don't feel like adding more to the most valuable company in the world. I probably should. It's probably not a bad idea, but for me, AMD was, I took a bigger position. I started with, I think, around 25,000. Okay, that's a good size position. It's healthy for me. I could have added more, but I did recently sell some puts at $200 a share because I knew this thing was going up. I knew it was going to keep going up. So I did a 3-week contract, sold AMD puts at $200 strikes for 3 weeks for $3,100. And now those contracts have decreased in value 86% compared to when I sold them. So now I've gained, I think, $2,600. So I'm going to make a nice $3K on that trade, a little short-term trade. You know, I should have bought the shares. Maybe I should have bought 500 more shares and just let it ride for another $1 trillion market cap or something like that. I don't know. I just don't like to be all in on one stock. I know it. If that stock grows, I'm going to make some money on it, so I don't need to get too aggressive on it. So that's why I didn't add more to it. But maybe if there's a big dip in the market, maybe I will add some more. You know, if AMD comes back down to 200, maybe there's a little recession fear or a Donald Trump tweet that just crashes the market 10%, and AMD gets back down to the 80s, 190s. I think I'm definitely going to just buy back in some more shares. But that's the thing, you know, people watch so much content that is not adding value to their lives. I only got 200 views on that video. You know, plenty of people could have seen, more people could have seen that video than the video where I lost $28,000. I've had 40,000 views on that video of losing 28K, but 200 views on a potential stock I feel is of good value, right? And I got this from the same guy that I went viral with, this guy, Jeremy Lefebvre. His idea was to buy into AMD. He saw the value as well, and I agreed with him. I thought that, you know, it was a good bullish hypothesis. And I'm seeing tweets from a lot of investors out there on Twitter or X, and like they're projecting this company could be worth $5 trillion. Now, there's a lot of hyperbole and hype around that company. Anytime a big company makes a big move, you know, a 20, 30% move like AMD did, you're going to get a lot of hype around it. You know, you're going to get guys like me that are pumping the stock, talking about it, getting excited, probably because they have a good sized position. So you got to be aware of that. You got to be careful. You know, don't put all your chips into one stock just because people are saying it's going up to the moon. Okay, but I do believe that right now it's trading at a $380 billion market cap. I think before you know it, that stock's going to be up to $1 trillion market cap, especially after another big order from Oracle. Who's next? You know, is it Microsoft? Is it Apple? Is it Tesla? Is it Google? Is it Salesforce? Somebody else is going to propose more chips they want to get on the order books, because it's a race. It's a race amongst all of these companies to get share over the chip sector, because if you don't have the chips, you can't perform. You can't do the inference for the amount of compute that's going to be required to process all of the white collar work out there and to process all the blue collar work. All these robots, guys, are going to have an AI inference chip. Every single robot that Tesla's going to build next year. Next year, they've already got orders with the Chinese for some part. I don't know what it is. I've seen some stories out there that they're ordering like for 100,000 robots next year. That means they're going to have 100,000 chips, maybe AMD chips. I don't exactly know what they're putting in the computer. I think they do have some AMD in there, or maybe they have their own neural network. I can't remember what the specs are. It's so hard to know what the heck these companies are doing. But that's just Tesla. Then there's Figure AI, and then Amazon, they'll have their own robot. Google's probably working on one as well. Maybe Apple is. Who knows? Maybe there'll be an Apple dog or something like that. You go walk your Apple dog, this bougie Apple dog. Everyone's going to buy who's an Apple iPhone lover. They'll get a robot dog, you know, something like that. You know, maybe it'll grow fur. Who knows? I'm getting a little ridiculous here. But the point I'm trying to make, again, is go and find good content, especially when it comes to investing. That is how I've made tons of money in my life, is watching YouTubers talk about stocks. That is the best way to find good stocks. I know a lot of people will say, oh man, no, don't do that. Don't listen to dumb YouTubers. Like, there are good YouTubers that actually have some good sound advice. Tom Nash, he's a good one. You got Jeremy Lefebvre. You know, I don't do a lot of stock picks, but I give you some good high-level motivation when it comes to stocks. And if I do like a stock, I will talk about it. AMD was one of them. Palantir was another one. I don't know if I talked about that much, because that one had ran up before I got into be a YouTuber. I would have talked about it because I did make a lot of money on Palantir. But there's going to be new stocks down the road. You know, and if you get one YouTuber to give you an idea, you go find other people that are talking about it so that you can get a bullish thesis. There's so many retail investors that give people awesome information. You're going to get information from every little YouTuber out there that's focused on one area of a stock. And Wall Street's not going to give you that. No financial analyst from CNBC or the Wall Street Journal or all these old school media companies are not going to give you that insight. The YouTubers and the Twitter Xers are going to give you this insight, guys. So I'm telling you, if you're positioned where you've got income and cash flow, and you can make a position, take a stake in a company, that's what you got to do. You got to pay attention to YouTube and find the gold nuggets out there, because they are out there. I mean, I talked about this stock 4 months ago. I took a position even before that, when the stock was like down to, I don't know, 120, one teens. And then Liberation Day, it was down to 77 bucks. I didn't even bother talking about the stock, because I was just like, I talked about Liberation Day though. I did say on Liberation Day, I was like, man, you should be buying stocks. You should be buying stocks. You know, not financial advice, but it might be something you might want to consider. I'm doing it. You know, in my opinion, I thought that trade war was a bunch of BS, and it was, and it still is to this day. So anyways, hopefully you guys take this advice as far as, you know, research YouTubers who know what they're talking about when it comes to some of these stocks. You will get some insight, and you will be able to make a move and build up conviction to go long and strong for 5, 10, 20 years on a position and build wealth to the moon. So let me know in the comments below if you got into AMD or if you didn't, or if you're still thinking about it. And if you guys could like and subscribe to the channel, I'd appreciate it. Take a look at my previous video, and everyone have a great day. Thanks.